Hey guys, John here. Today we're in the Arturia DX7, and today I want to show you a recipe that I think everybody should know. And it's a smooth bass that just really kind of works for anything, right? Sometimes we just want a bass that kind of just carries that low end. It's not really too invasive, but it's just there. It's rich, it's warm, it's nice. And yeah, I'll show you how to make this here. It's very simple, but it's a really cool patch to make. So let's go to File, New, and then let's go to our Advanced. And for this one, we're going to need Algorithm 3 because that's the first stack with 2 additional operators or modulators, depending on how you want to look at these here. So the first one is going to be fine, right? So 1 and then 0 tuning is going to be fine. So we don't really need to touch the first one, aside from a little bit of release. Let's take our mod wheel down here because that by default is on there. Okay, so let's increase our release a little bit like that. So we just have kind of a sine wave here. Now, for the second operator, what we need to do is drop this down by an octave. So this is all in ratios, right? So we have to drop it from 1 to half, which is going to be down 0.5. And then we have to kind of increase this slider here until we find the texture or the tone that we like. It's kind of already sounding like a nice kind of smooth, rich, low FM bass. Now, the cool part about doing this in the DX7 is we can do this in every other synthesizer, right? We can just use 2 oscillators and basically FM one to the other. But the cool part here is that we're using these individual envelopes to kind of really contour the sound. So on the second operator, we can really drop down the sustain to where we want it. So really that modulation is kind of going from here and kind of just dropping down a little bit to the left-hand side. So we're kind of controlling the influence from operator 2 to operator number 1, kind of to how we like that. And for the most part, it already sounds pretty good. There's a couple extra things that we can do as well. If we're kind of looking for a little bit of attack on the bass or maybe a little bit kind of slappy kind of sound, that's where this third stack here comes in handy. So for this one over here, what we can do, for now, let's click and drag this up to 10, which is pretty substantially high up here. And in this one here, we need to drop this sustain here pretty quick because we want a quick attack, right? And if we increase this volume here, we can kind of hear that attack happening. That crazy, almost noise-ish kind of sound here. Now that's a little bit much here. Maybe we can drop that down a little bit. And then with this envelope, we can really determine how long we want that to be, right? So if we want a really quick attack, we just kind of hug this as close to the left as possible. Now we have kind of the timing here that we like to control. Let's say we like this, we're okay with this. And then what we want to do, maybe we want to change that texture a little bit, right? So we can click this 10 here and kind of drag up and down and kind of find the attack sound that we like. Maybe 8 might be fine for you as well. It might be a little bit too much release for me, I think. That's kind of cool there. And what we can do as well, if we're kind of interesting, what's always nice about this synthesizer here is that we have feedback for all these different operators. So that's always something you can kind of go and reach for and kind of see what it sounds like. Because we can get a little bit of extra harmonics. We almost lose a little bit of low end and it kind of turns into a saw wave. And it kind of breaks down at the top there. But something to kind of think about there. And then we can even try that out with the second operator and see how that sounds. And then maybe even with the third one for the attack. So yeah, not really too much there. The first one really has a huge impact on that. That might be a little bit too much of attack there because what I kind of like to do as well is on the first one here, we can kind of bring down the sustain a little bit, kind of run it through a compressor to kind of glue this all together, I guess, in a weird sense. And then we can go to our compressor here and then maybe make this dry wet all the way. And then that's where we're at here. We don't need that much compression. 8-to-1 is usually fine for a bass. And we kind of bring this all together. We kind of notice that the attack might be a little bit too much. So that's where you want to go here in the third operator and kind of just bring it down just a little bit. Now, something like this, I'd probably want to use an external EQ for this and kind of just clean it up a little bit, right? So we can go to an EQ. Kind of let's bring this up here. Maybe some of that. Alternatively, you can also do that in the synth as well, but this is kind of just a simplistic bass patch. I mean, kind of just play around with the different operators and kind of the envelopes and how they interact with each other. It's a very simple recipe, but it comes in handy for a lot of things, right? If you're like, you have something like, I just need a bass or something, I don't need something too in your face, but just something to carry the nice low end. It'll generally always do the work for you. So if you'd like a copy of this patch, there is a link in the video description below. It can be yours. Hopefully you learned something. If you didn't know this patch already, it's pretty simple, it's pretty easy, and it's very effective. So thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.